Hello, welcome to my video now about my regional run for the Utrecht regionals, which I attended with basically zero practice, and I made myself a challenge where I basically banned the top 6 Pokemon from the last regional, which was in the US, which is actually interesting. The meta between the US and EU is kind of different, so like, for example, here Registeel would have been banned, but I have it on my team because in the US, like, people don't really use the Registeel that much. Like, the Trash Cannon is more something that people use in our regionals here. But still, my team is not the crazy spiciest, never said it either, but it's definitely a little bit differently from what you might see. Usually you see, like, also here my opponent, who sadly actually got a little bit late at the second day there, and had to basically forfeit this first match because he was just too late for it. So, like, he got into the loser's bracket because of that, and not really because he lost his first match, which is kind of sad. But yeah, we're going to have here a team that doesn't have the Trevenant, doesn't have the Medicham, doesn't have the Noctowl, doesn't have the Umbreon, and doesn't have the Galarian Stunfisk. And there was another Pokemon that got banned, which I don't know which it was for me. But yeah, we're going to have a team here with Shadow Swampert, which is a cool Pokemon, really. Lickitung, which is underrated, like not a lot of people use it currently in the meta, mainly because of Noctowl and also like Steel types and whatever. It's not really the most common Pokemon, but it was a really strong one here. We're going to have our Shadow Charizard, which was my MVP pick for sure. We're going to have our Altaria, which is a little bit tricky to play as well in the current meta, because you see here already, this is the first match against Lorenzo, which is going not to plan here. We won lead hard, but they really made a great call there by basically keeping both shields for their Ninetales. Ninetales is very, very tricky to deal with as well, especially for the Altaria, which I still have in the bag here right now. So this is not really the best one for me here in this game, but yeah, Altaria, tricky with a lone Ninetales, tricky with Galarian Stunfisk, tricky with the Registeel, and also tricky a little bit with the Medicham, because Medicham has access to the move Ice Punch, but still was a good pick in my opinion, was working pretty well in the games there I brought it, other than this one here, because this one is something that I have to lose here sadly. There's not a lot that I can do about it. Wonder if it would have been different if I hit, nah, like, okay, even if I had the Dragonclaw there, it wouldn't have mattered at all. Otherwise, we're going to have the Mew in the back, which is running an interesting moveset here of Flame Charge instead of Surf, which I just also put in there because I want to have some fun. I changed my team on the way to the regional 3 times, so my team was before Dunsparce instead of the Lickitung, and the Cresselia instead of Mew, which would have been also interesting, but we changed a little bit. I didn't do a single practice match before. But yeah, the first round here, sadly I lost, but let's see how we can adapt for the next one. As we can now actually take a look at the battles itself after me explaining, we're going to encounter here the Shadow Charizard against the Shadow Swampert here in the lead. Fun fact about this one, this is a positive lead for me. I have a Fire type against a Water type, it doesn't really matter too much. We have, by the way, here the speed of 1.5 for the gameplay, because I feel like this is the best for still explaining some stuff. But here, Shadow's Charizard, if you look at the team of the opponent, there's nothing that this Pokemon really loses against. Like, everything it has play against, even against the Swampert, it wins in the 2-shield scenario going straight Dragonclaw. Against the rest, like, there's nothing that resists Blast Burn otherwise. So here, us having a lead against the opponent there, sadly we didn't get the debuff there, by the way. Like, we were really unfortunate with the debuffs of Registeel during the entire tournament, in my opinion. Like, I had really not a good time with, like, those luck games, so I was kind of unfortunate there as well, but we're still going to be able to at least farm on the Noctowl here. Last game they were able, like, they would have been able to get to another move, so I needed to throw. Here I was going to go for the bait, and again, we go for another Zap Cannon, and of course we don't get another debuff. You see me laughing here on the right side, because it's so unlikely to not get a debuff there, but actually I think in the end game it turned out to be better for me that I didn't get the debuff there, because now they're going to swap into the Ninetales. They thought they would catch the Dragonclaw here, but they're going to catch the Blast Burn, and this Ninetales gonna go down here, and this game is already over. This is definitely in my favor. Even though having the Swampert against the Charizard in the lead, getting an energy advantage here with the Charizard was so important for me in this game, which will allow me now to shield up and go for one body slam there. But yeah, we are here, by the way, in the losers round 3 on the second day. I think I was there already 11 games in, I think. 11 games in, which was with by far the most amount of anybody who played there. I lost like in the 3rd round before, which put me into the loser's bracket, and then you have to play so many more games, but let's go into the next game. We can go on to the next game, but yeah, basically the thing is here, I was already like so many games in this tournament, was wild. it's just something, if you go early into the loser's bracket, it's really difficult to still climb up very far because you have to do so many more battles than if you just haven't lost yet. Like, it's so much more, so much less games that you have to play if you're in the winner's bracket compared to the loser's bracket, which is kind of wild. But yeah, here we're going to encounter, I guess, a very good lead there with the Registeel. I called that he has either the Noctowl and the Ninetales in the lead. Either of them was fine for me, and I actually was correct with the assumption there. The thing is, I didn't expect them to bring both of them because I thought that they knew that I'm going to bring the Registeel anyway. So for me here, it's just fortunate. I went for the bait there first for the Dragon Claw. I was able to get the shield. I going to get the next shield as well. And at this point of time, the game is over. My opponent knows it already. I know it already. There's nothing that they can do about it. I'm just going to use my Altaria now on the Noctowl because Altaria basically had 4 positive matchups in this match, and as well as against the opponent's Registeel would have also had a pretty neutral matchup with the Altaria, which is pretty decent. Wouldn't have knocked him out, but had a neutral one. Just the Ninetales I needed to avoid, and as I saw it in the lead, I was already able to easily win this game here as well, which going to put us into the next round as well, just by calling the opponent's line. I knew that they hit either the Noctowl or the Ninetales in the lead. Both of them are really, really good for me, like against my team basically in the lead, unless I run Registeel. And my opponent saw that 2 games prior that I didn't really want to run Registeel in the lead, which makes them think that I don't really like this in the lead, but I just kind of mind gamed them there, which really worked out well for us, as we're going to be able to knock them out here and win this game here pretty easily, as I was able to kind of call, or like actually pretty dictate the last 2 games there because I just got my Pokemon into the right matchups. You will see some people on the crowd. Very nice. And we can go into the next matchup in general. Going now into the next matchup, we're going to encounter an Azumarill, as well as we're going to encounter the Sableye. Sableye had some issues prior. There was one game which I also this was the one that I lost in Stay 1, which put me into the loser's bracket, where I played pretty horribly. And this was against Sableye. This would have been mostly different if I actually had some more practice with it, but I played so bad against the opponent there with their Sableye. Like, they played completely perfect. Like, they did definitely do a way better job than I did. But Sableye was something I was a little bit scared of. My team is still very fine against Sableye, don't get me wrong. It's not the best Pokemon against my team. It's pretty neutral against everything. But I played really, really bad before against it, so I was a little bit scared about this matchup here. Azumarill looks pretty decent against my team as well, making me basically forces me basically to bring the Lickitung and the Registeel the entire time. Or something like the Swampert can help as well sometimes. Mew also has, of course, a Wild Charge still, but it's not the best matchup. But both my Charizard as well as my Altaria does not have the greatest time here against the Azumarill. But still, if you think about everything other than the Azumarill, my Charizard just is neutral or beats everything else. And Charizard is just such a cool Pokemon in the current meta. I didn't expect it whatsoever, but we can go here now into the next game as well. And we will see here, hopefully now, how it's all going to go. Game 1 starting here now. We're going to see my opponent logging in. I logged in. Charizard against Ninetales. Horrible lead for me, actually. Ninetales with Powder Snow wins against Charizard easily. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to catch, and I'm going to catch the first move already, which is really cool. I can keep track of the energy of my opponent. They are 1 over, so I need 3 more for the next charge move, and I bait out the Medicham. My opponent makes a huge mistake here by going into the Medicham instead of the Umbreon. They had a basically perfect lineup to completely hardwall me from the get-go. Like, they had the Ninetales against me, which was a hard counter to my Charizard. There was no way I could have won this matchup. They had the Umbreon, which would have been a hard wall for my Lickitung, and they would have had the Registeel, like my Registeel against their Medicham, which would have been a hard wall for my Registeel. So me getting out this Pokemon here makes this all very neutral. I will be able to knock them out here with a Dragon Claw, and as said before, I kept track of the energy of the opponent, and I was able to catch another one. And if you have energy on a Charizard, that thing just goes to town later. And here we're going to encounter the Umbreon, and I was like, okay, we have 2 shields, and I kind of have to stay in this matchup for a little bit, so I'm going to share the first one. Please give me the debuff here. You have to go for 2 moves anyway against the Umbreon. Of course, Focus Blast would be the higher damaging move here, but I wanted to get the debuff, and I got the debuff, which is so important for this matchup, which helped me out so much. But of course, as you saw maybe the matches before, that was not always the case. There I had the luck on my side. But here, we will be able to go ahead, go for 1 Focus Blast. This will hopefully get the knockout, but no, they are of course shielding here, as we actually can see on the side there as well, which is kind of fine. and we can go ahead, go for another move soon, as they can actually do a great job in managing their energy, basically keeping always energy on the Umbreon, allowing them to have a great time. They wanted to actually catch there, which was a smart move by them. Would have most likely actually changed a little bit, but like this, I got the shield from the opponent. And they're going to swap out now, which was a little bit too late for them, because I can still get to another charge move here. Just knock them out. I am one fast move away from the Charizard, and here I make a mistake. I should have just stayed in here, should have let them knock me out, because it would have guaranteed it to me. Here they could have maybe denied my fast move, which would have lost me the game for sure. Like this, I'm still going to be able to get to my Blast Burn, knock them out there. Just barely, and yeah, those two catches against this player here really saved me this matchup, which is really nice. Let's go into the next one. Going now into game 2 here, we're going to encounter a lead that's really fortunate for me. As I led the Charizard before, I thought that they might think that I'm going to bring something else in the lead that's pretty weak against the Azumarill. But yeah, I was able to catch the lead here basically with our own Lickitung. And here's going to be a play that a lot of people were a little bit confused about. It's my own fault here. I was too late. I was just a little bit too late here. The thing is with Charizard. Charizard needs 7 fast moves, aka, yeah, basically 70 energy from the opponent's Registeel to get to a Blast Burn there to knock out the opponent. So like I would have been able to outspeed them if I was just half a turn faster than the opponent, which would have allowed me to win this match up here without using a single shield. That's what I was trying to go for, but I was sadly a little bit too late. Which of course is a little bit awkward, because you see already in the back my opponent going to have the Medicham, which is another Pokemon that I really want to face here. We can go ahead and go for another Blast Burn against the opponent's Azumarill. We're sadly debuffed because my opponent got the debuff from the Registeel there. But we're still going to get them very, very low, and we're going to be able to try to catch the move here. I go for the bait, expecting them to shield because they have so much energy. They don't want to get rid of this, I thought. But no, they're just calling it. But thankfully, I have a little bit more attack than the opponent here, allowing me to have a Steampita here. They do a great job here by going for a great undercharge here, going for just a nice, with the Hydro Pump, putting us into a range where they can farm us down with a Medicham. But now Medicham is out, we can go ahead and go into our Charizard. And if you didn't know yet, Charizard is completely busted. Like, this Pokemon is so good. We can go for one Blast Burn here, going to get the shield, and we can go for another one before they can even counter me down. And they're shaking their head, and they know already this Blast Burn is going to go down and going to knock them straight out of here. We have still a shield advantage, and this is going to be a very easy game to win this one there. Charizard just carrying me hard doing this one. And of course, yeah, calling the lead there was pretty important as well. Lickitung lead is something that a lot of people don't expect. It's a better save swap, so that really worked out well there. Let's go to the next one. Next game is about to start here. We're in losers round 5 right now against Dr. JGY, I guess. I don't know if there's actually a bigger meaning behind this one. We're going to encounter here a Lantern. Lantern is a little bit tricky for my team, especially Water Gun. Luckily, this is Spark, which is a little bit easier for me because I do less fast move damage here. As we had, I think, a pretty decent lead for us in general, but you see already the team of my opponent. They have a Lantern, they have a Trevenant, and they have also the Umbreon in the back, which makes this all a very good one for our Altaria. Altaria has no real issue here. The only answers for my Altaria would be the Galarian Stunfisk, which I'm super surprised that they didn't bring here, because you see already on my team we're going to have the Swampert. Our team is pretty weak against Galarian Stunfisk. There is not a lot that I can do against this Pokemon other than with Swampert. Still, of course, Registeel is kinda neutral. Mew has some play. If I have energy advantage, I can also do something with Charizard. The Lickitung is kinda neutral still, but yeah, it's still not the best Pokemon to deal with. Luckily, they didn't bring it, and we have now the Altaria here against the Umbreon. We have an advantage here. We know already what they have in the back, which is going to be the Trevenant, and we're going to have now also our Swampert here, which will be able to go ahead and go for one Hydro Cannon against the opponent. Of course, we know already we have still also our Lickitung in the back, which will have a great time here, as we see the opponent going for one charge move. They can go for another one. I want to just get them very, I want to knock them out here because I want to win this matchup later with our Lickitung there. So I cannot use this shield here. Going to overfarm a little bit awkwardly here, because this allows us to get to 2 charge moves still and just throw them back to back. I thought I would be able to swap out after this one now, which I think I am as well. And this will allow me to A, get the shield from the opponent, and B, now get the switch stroke down so they don't get a lot of farm. And I can go ahead and go into my Lickitung and make a very risky play here, which I most likely shouldn't have done and should have played a little bit differently, but it's just me doing some weird stuff here, because I knew that they have a ton of energy, but look how much, like how close they were to the seed bomb. I literally get there one turn before them, and I should have either went for the body slam, which also would still do a lot of damage, or I should no shield there and try to maybe farm them down with Altaria, but I feel like this was not the play for me, but I still won there, which was pretty nice. Let's go into the next game. Going in now into the next game, we're going to encounter a horrible lead here. Very nice call from the opponent to go twice for Trevenant lead here, expecting me to not think that they go for that. Very, very smart there. Of course, we are good at catching here today, and we're going to be able to catch the charge move here from the opponent, the seed bomb, directly at 6 turns, which was really, really nice for me. But the issue, of course, is my opponent going to have an Umbreon in the back, and they're also farmed up extra to another seed bomb, which is not really ideal for me. So my opponent places really, really nice here. They definitely have control over the game after me hard losing the lead there. And this is going to be a little bit of a tough one, as we're going to encounter now the foul play coming through from the opponent. And we see the Charizard already lurking in the back from the opponent. Charizard is one of the Pokemon that can, in certain scenarios, at least beat the Altaria here from my opponent. But I will be able to go ahead and go for the foul play. They go for the foul play, of course, as we can go for some moves here with the body slam. Body slam going to do some decent damage here, and gonna get them a little bit low, but we still have to kind of deal with our Swampert here getting some extra energy later, I guess. Because they're going to get to another charge move here, I'm going to have to take one charge move still with my Swampert, but I have to go into my Swampert anyway, as the the opponent has, of course, the Trevenant there. I have to keep my shield alive for the Altaria. At this point of time, you see me shaking my head there. I thought for sure they're going to have Galarian Stunfisk in the back. So that's how I played this match up out like that. That's why I tried to, also as you're going to see here now, try to get some extra energy here with my Swampert still against the opponent's Trevenant. That's why I didn't swap out immediately. Which actually, if I swapped out immediately onto the Seed Bomb, would have won me the game most likely. And I still actually had a chance to win this game. But, yeah, like this was me misplaying because I expected my opponent to have something differently in the back. They had the Charizard, which I literally didn't expect whatsoever. I really thought they would have had the Galarian Stunfisk in the back. So here I was like, maybe I still have a chance. But Charizard's Dragonclaw actually going to hurt me quite a bit. As you're going to see that we can go ahead and go for another charge move soon, hopefully. But they're going to be able to go for their move first. It's going to be another Dragonclaw. They overfarmed a lot. We get there still a one turn before them, which is amazing, which really helps us out here. But actually, if I went ahead and now, after they throw their charge move, went for the Earthquake, as you're going to see here now. I went for the Hydro Cannon because I didn't know that they would swap out immediately. If I went for the Earthquake, I think I would have knocked out the Trevenant there. And I needed one more fast move to get to another charge move, which would have allowed me to knock out the opponent's Charizard there as well. So I would have actually been able to win this game if I went for the Earthquake, predicting the opponent to swap out. So the swap out from the opponent was way more important there, like very well played by them, like amazingly played. But let's go into the next one. We are now in the last game here. Whoever wins is going to be in the top 3 of the regional, which is going to be interesting here. And I'm calling that they're going to go for a Galarian Stunfisk lead. Because they hard-rolled me last time with that Trevenant in the lead, I expected them to not go for that again. I don't think they would go for 3 times Trevenant lead. So I went ahead, went for my Swampert lead, and this really helped me out here, as I was able to get ahead and get some damage here onto the Umbreon before I swapped into my own Lickitung. I thought definitely with that amount of damage already gone from the Umbreon, there's no way Lickitung will be able to lose this matchup here now. Honestly, like, we had basically only half health Umbreon against us here. Yes, of course, our lick damage doesn't add up that much, but our body slam is still neutral. This is going to hurt them a lot, so we should be able to realign here. That's what I thought. Turns out Umbreon is so much bulkier and better than I ever expected, and it's wild. Honestly, look at this. We go for the Power Whip, which does more damage than Body Slam. That's why I went for it, and I know that I only get to one move anyway, and I know that they would have survived a Body Slam, but they still survived that one as well. I don't want to realign here because I know that I can also beat the opponent with some energy advantage with my Charizard. So I'm going to go ahead and go still into my Swampert here to get some more energy, because Mudshot does less damage than the Wing Attack, but generates more energy, so I get a little bit more of it. They swap into their Medicham, and now we're in a horrible scenario. I just go straight for the Blast Burn, and we will win this game with that play. They had 2 shields and they didn't shield this move up. You see it in his face, like he knew already he screwed up with that one. That was such a great play. That was my favorite play of the entire game there, or like in general in the entire tournament. Going for the Blast Burn, even though the opponent has 2 shields, won me this one. We're gonna go ahead, go into the top 3 for this regional. Going into this last one, this is going to be a top best of 5, by the way, because this is the losers finals here. If I win this one, I would be able to get to Yokohama for the World Championships and would get my ticket for that, which would have been amazing. Of course, we're going to see here the opponent's team going to have the Registeel, the Noctowl, the Medicham, the Sableye, the Lantern, and the Shadow Alone Ninetales. A very meta, very strong team. And the issue here is, this was also the issue in day one. The one person that beat me mainly also beat me not only because I misplayed a lot, but also because they had a special version of Lantern, which is going to be a Water Gun Lantern, which I didn't expect to see at all in this tournament. Usually people run Spark, it generates more energy, gives you a little bit better matchups against most Pokemon. Water Gun allows you to have better matchup against something like Galarian Stunfisk, but also against most other Pokemon on my team here, because we don't have anything that walls water type moves other than the Altaria. And for the Altaria, there's a Registeel on the team, and there's also an Alone Ninetales on the team, which they most likely going to bring a lot of times here, especially the Alone Ninetales. So for me, building a team around this one here is next to impossible. So this was a really awkward one. Now we're gonna go into the matches here, and we're going to encounter the best possible lead we could have faced there. We were predicting that they're most likely going to run the Noctowl, as they're going to see now our Registeel against them. They're gonna go into their own Registeel. I'm gonna be able to go for one Focus Blast first. Going to hopefully do some nice damage against them, which will allow me then to go ahead and go into my Mew as an answer. This Mew going to have Flame Charge, as you're going to see here, which is the first time I review my Mew on stream yet. I will be able to take this move. They don't get the debuff, which is really nice for me, as I can overfarm a little bit here. Basically perfect overfarm there, so they don't get to another charge move. They're going to let this move go through. Flame Charge coming through, going to get the boost now. And now this matchup is just hard RPS. Like, this is going to be such a good game for me, because I completely called the line from the opponent. I also know that they were like together with the player that beat me the day one, so like they knew already that I'm going to be very weak against the Water Gun Lantern from that, and they knew how to play that. So like I was really in a disadvantage from the beginning here, in my opinion, which is just based on team comp. Like, I had really not the best team comp against the opponent here, but winning this first game just by hard reads was so nice. I only needed to win 2 more games in order to get to Yokohama, which would have been so cool. But here we're going to be able to just play out this match. There's not a lot that my opponent can do here. They actually still play it out, and they're actually still gonna get here the attack drop. Didn't really matter too much, to be fair, but they're still going to be able to get pretty close to winning this, I think. Like, not really that close, because I don't think there was really anything they could have done to really change it. But they're still playing it out, which is fine for them. We will be able to go for one Sky Attack. We still don't knock them out. They can swap out here, where I was a little bit worried about it. They had a lot of energy here, but we're still going to be able to... I thought actually they would go for the Sky Attack here, so I thought I would have been able to catch the move. So I was a little bit worried here. They can still go for one Shadow Ball, but we were able to get to a charge move here, winning this first matchup here as well, as we can farm them all the way down. And yeah, they knew already this is going to be a good game, so... First one done, we just need to win 2 more games here. Into the next game now, we're going to encounter here a pretty neutral lead. We're going to see actually something that I definitely should be able to have a pretty okayish time with. We're going to see the Alone Ninetales against us. This Pokemon is really awkward to deal for my team as well. Again, we see the Lantern, of course, because Lantern is really good against me. I will be able to go for some charge moves here with our Body Slam. And I just kind of want to get rid of the opponent here, but they catch the move perfectly. Very nice catch by them, which still puts them kind of into range, I think, where I can go into my Registeel, but I kind of misplay this game here. I wanted to build up to a Body Slam so I can keep that alive for later on for the Ninetales, but I feel like this might have been not the play to go now. If I just swapped out immediately, I think I had a greater time. They're gonna go for the bait, which is really unfortunate for me, because now they can get stole to a surf before that. And it's all not really turning into my favor here. It's really not looking that good for me. I can go for one charge move here, which still sadly does not put them into range where I can lock on them down, I think. It's like, it's a little bit too low, I think. I don't know, maybe it's in the range? Let's see. They're gonna go for one charge move here. I see him P-tie as well. Like, I didn't even remember this game there so much, but they sadly still get to a move, and this is super unfortunate right now. If this didn't happen, I think I would have won this game. If I just didn't see him P-tie here, because I would have had a move stored basically for the opponent. And I make so many mistakes. I went straight into my Lickitung, expecting them to go into their Ninetales there instead. And like this, I'm gonna be able to get the shield from the opponent, but I just don't really have the control over the game anymore, and this is super sad to see because this actually, I didn't really remember that anymore, but I really played this match not perfectly. I think I had a big chance of winning this game here already, but sadly the opponent has now so much energy on their Medicham. If I just had the Zap Cannon still and committed to the farm down of the opponent's Lantern, it would have been fine. The opponent has still a move here with the Ninetales, of course. I have to go for a Dranclaw eventually, but they still have another charge move, and this is going to be a good game. And honestly, I didn't really realize this during the time, but this is actually a game I could have won for sure. Like, I really played this bad here, which is on my part. I think I would have had the game if I played it better. Really, really sad to see. Next game coming up, we're going to encounter a pretty decent lead there. We're going to see the Medicham lead, which is pretty fine for me, and they actually don't really have the best answers for me in the back either. We're going to see the Ice Punch coming through. I'm going to take this one, as we now see the Lantern coming in. Instead here, we will be able to go for one Moonblast. And what we can do here right now is, we can just go ahead and let this charge move go through, do some damage here. And we will be able to go ahead and just let this move go through, I think. Or no, I'm actually going to shield this move, I think. They're going to go for the Thunderbolt, which is amazing for me. And what I will be able to do here is I can just farm them all the way down. They don't get to another charge move in time. They literally die on it, which is amazing for me because now they have to align their Pokemon. And we will see here now the Medicham, which is pretty low. The Noctowl, which is going to have to take a 1 Sky Attack here already. And also I can go ahead and go for another charge move here with my Altaria. I'm gonna go for the Moonblast. We'll be able to hopefully get the shield here, exactly because I have to shield up something eventually. Moonblast would have done a little bit more damage here, but it's still fine. We're going to have them at half health, and they're going to swap now into the Medicham as we can go into our Mew again. Going to be able to just have a great time here. Like, Mew going to have a great time against this opponent's Medicham there. There's nothing that they can really do about this. I can survive 2 Ice Punches even. I can go for the Flame Charge here and knock them out straight away. And know they had some extra energy, I didn't know how much it actually was, so I could have even farmed a little bit more, but actually never mind, I farmed perfectly up here with the Flame Charge, and I will be able to even take a Sky Attack with my Mew, I think. Or I'm just going to shield anyway, which is fine for me as well, because there's literally no reason to not shield. This will allow me to get the shield already, and this is better for Registeel. Basically, when shields are down, Registeel is the best with that one, because you only have nuke moves. And like this, I will be able to really easily win this one here. Now I only have to win one more game out of the next 2 in order to clutch my way to the World Championships in Japan. But as you might expect already, it didn't really go that well. So yeah, we're going to see here the Focus Blast coming through. We're going to be able to go for this charge move here, going to knock them out, and we can go into the next game. Into the next game, my opponent makes a great read here. My opponent just reads my team perfectly. They're going to have the best answer for me in the lead. They're going to have nothing really for my Lickitung though, which is pretty decent for me at least. I don't know if I could have won this game here either, but the thing is, with this one here, they will be able to get out the hardest answer to the Sableye out as well, which is going to be awkward. I'm going to let this move go through. I win this in a zero shield, but that's basically it. And they can also catch the move if they want to, and they're going to be able to catch this move on the, what's called onto the Lantern here. I don't know if I would have been able to get to a Power Whip anyway, no matter what. I don't think I would have. Let's see. Actually, I think I might have been able to get to the Power Whip, which would have helped me out quite a bit. But at this point of time, I was just hoping that they have not the Sableye in the back. If it's not the Sableye, and also if it's not the Noctowl, I should be able to have a great time here with my Mew in the back, because I have Flame Charge for the opponent's Registeel, I have Flame Charge for the opponent's Alone Ninetales. I should be fine against either of those two. I just cannot really deal with the one Pokemon really. I even would have Wild Charge for the Noctowl, but if they had anything else other than the Sableye in the back, I still would have been fine at this point of time. And I'm actually going to keep one charge move here as well, as I can take this not resisted, but debuffed Surf here. But sadly, of course, they're going to have the Sableye. You see my reaction here as well. I was really hard-walled at this point of time. There was literally nothing I could have done in this matchup here. And this is kind of sad because, yeah, I was calling my opponent's teams pretty easily before. I could have won the second game already. I didn't know this here, but like I would have been able to win this if I played it better. I'm just going to let this move go through here, of course, this game. I knew that already. And it's going to be a 2-2 here. And we can go into the final game. Final game here, we're going to have a Mew lead again, which in hindsight, I shouldn't have done. Like, honestly, like the likelihood of them running 3 times Medicham in the lead is something that does not really make too much sense. So I shouldn't have done that really. And if I just went ahead and let anything else, I think I would have been way better off. And of course, my opponent completely hardwalls me, because now, last game, they're going to bring a Registeel. And after losing basically lead here and also losing this one here, it is just basically impossible already. Like, there's not a lot that I can do here. I'm going to actually shield this move up because I just had to try to do something, but you see already, they have perfect alignment here. There's not a lot that I can do here. This is going to be it for this one. Completely RPS at the end. There's not a lot that I can do in the last 2 matches here. Kind of question myself at what I built for the last game here. Could have played this definitely, like built this definitely better in terms of the team that I used. I tried to keep my Lickitung around because I thought maybe I still needed it in the back. But yeah, this game is sadly over. Of course, I brought Lantern to all the matches because Watergun Lantern is just so overpowered against me. But they just played it well here, and this is going to be also it for this matchup here. Also, yeah, it's just really sad. Like, the thing that really bothered me here now after watching it is the second game, because I could have went 3-0 against them, I think. And I just misplayed the second game so hard that it really hurt. They played very, very well though. Like, they caught a lot of moves. And also, like, this is the thing, in Go Battle League you would say, oh, okay, RPS, like, there's nothing that you really can do about it. But here in those tournaments, of course, you are in basically a position where, like, the opponent tries to predict your team, and they just predicted my team twice really, really well. So congrats to the opponent. They just played it better there at the end. Like, I should have played better the second game, and they just completely called my line for the last 2 games, which is super unfortunate. Like, basically, I went 12-2 in this entire tournament, so I had 14 different matchups which I had to play, which was really draining. And then losing literally 1 game before I would have been able to go to Japan is super sad to see, but it is how it is. I actually wasn't really that disappointed there. I'm a little bit disappointed now, to be fair, because I just saw that the second game was winnable. Like this, I just, yeah, shook the hand of my opponent. Congrats to them. I don't really feel bitter about that or anything like this. They played amazing. Like, they deserved the win there. But still, of course, I would have liked to be in the second place. You see me smiling here as well. Like, I didn't really care too much. I literally went into it without any expectations. I didn't do a single practice match before that. So I'm totally fine with that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my little recap here for Utrecht. Definitely cool team to use for me. Charizard was definitely my best Pokemon to play. But yeah, this was hopefully I might be able to win a tournament later on Sunday.